music together so we can. I just figure I'll play it first before I do anything else, so I could just cut that out at the end when it's over. But yeah, so yeah, we're gonna run it back through again, and we are going to uh start moving down social media, tapping these links real quick. Give me a couple seconds. Let me go ahead. I need to get these last ones in. And yeah, where are we at here? Hopefully everybody doing good. Come on in. I know, yeah, we do the late one. I wasn't gonna do it, but I said let me come on in here and get something done so we can stay consistent. You know what I mean? We stay consistent. We stay consistent. You know what I mean? So when we stay consistent, you know, people know that we're gonna be consistent. You see I'm over here in these links. In these links, I don't know if y'all can hear it, but yeah, we have some things. But yeah. So hopefully everybody doing good. Big Dog Philly, yep. Powerful build. Powerful build today. Powerful build, brother. Powerful build. Do 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 do. All right, I'm pretty much ready now, so let's go. Start from the top. Tippy. Appreciate everybody being here. King Chameleon, what's happening? What's happening? Yeah, we got to get that thing together, man. So we'll get that Instagram thing straight. Yep, I'm on the late go. But yeah, let's get everybody in. Can't wait around. So this is gonna be a quick one. So we're gonna move fast. All right. Let's go.
First of all, I just want to know something about these dinosaur bones. Now that's tenderness. I got let. That's tenderness. Boy, look at here. That genuine bone. It just shook off there like a salt shaker, soaking wet.
Best in the city.
He says the best in the city.
We about to find out.
Hell him on back. Man, look at this. That beef over there.
3 cheeses in there.
Yeah. This tenderness. I don't know why y'all ain't down here. I want everybody to come down here and check them out. You think I ain't gonna get on the plane with this man? First of all, I just want to know something about these dinosaur bones.
Now that's what you call slow and low.
Trees are fruit trees, and then sold us back the fruit. They took the water next, the rivers, the rain, the springs that fed civilizations for thousands of years. They took the water, bottled it, and sold it back to us. They took the land that existed long before any human being drew lines around it, and told you that if you wanted to stand on it, you better have a payment plan. Am I the only one this drives crazy? Everything you need to survive, water, food, shelter, was already here. Nobody created it, but somehow you were born owing for it. And why does a free life sound like such a crazy idea? Why does simply existing without debt, without bills, without permission, why does that sound like a fantasy? Who the hell convinced us that this is how it's supposed to be? They took the
Man. Yeah. Who convinced us? That's a hell of a question right there. Who convinced us? this is the way it should be. Who convinced us?
Every day in America, already in debt. Before your eyes even open, you owe on your house, you owe on your car, you owe on your education, you owe for your health. Your whole life is chained to subscription services. Debt slavery, wage slavery, subscription slavery. You know, your whole existence is leased. It's on loan from the moment you're born. From the moment you're born, you are plugged into a system that feeds on you financially, psychologically, spiritually, and you're told that all of that is freedom. You're told it's the best thing that ever happened to humanity. It's the best system there is. And you should be grateful. You should be proud. Tell me that isn't cult-like. You live in a bubble of euphemisms. You work like a slave. You sell your time, which is what your life is, by the way. It's time. Your presence in this world is nothing but time. And actually, you don't even sell it, because selling it would imply that you have a choice, but you don't have a choice to sell your time. Do you understand? You have to. That's what I mean. You're literally born in debt, because from the moment that you enter the world, if you live in the West, if you live in America, well, you have to start justifying your existence within the prevailing profit model. You know, whatever intrinsic value that you have as a human being, whatever purpose you might have in this life is subordinated by necessity to a job that you don't care about for people who you don't even know, in a company that would replace you tomorrow with a machine or with AI or with a robot if they could. Your dignity is tied to your productivity. And if you don't produce, you don't deserve to eat. If you don't produce, you don't deserve shelter. You don't deserve peace. You're only worth whatever you can generate monetarily for someone else. So you cope. You consume, you scroll, you eat, you buy things that you don't need on credit to reward yourself with the cold comfort of frivolous goods. You know, reward yourself for all the hard work that you're doing, only to keep the cycle going. You bury yourself in entertainment that makes you feel a little bit less numb for just a few hours. Imagine, the only way that you can feel anything similar to being alive is to watch fiction. But you think that's normal because that's what everyone in the cult does. You live alone with little to no human interaction, no human connection. You walk through crowds like a ghost. Your family, most likely, is scattered, is broken, is estranged, again, just like a cult. You know, these are fundamental things that cults do. They break all your relationships. They alienate you from your family. You know, even your friends, most likely, are just avatars on the screen. Curated versions of people pretending to not be as miserable as you are, you know, with their Instagrammable perfect lives.
That was bars. Now, that's definitely not what this channel is. This is real. This ain't no make-believe. And I think might be a breath of fresh air. I could play that one again, but I'm not. Let's move forward. My man Layla.
Air in your body is possible. That will keep your body healthy. Chlorophyll helps keep air in your body. Chlorophyll that you get from plants, fresh fruits, vegetables. Everything that's green has chlorophyll in it. You want to get chlorophyll. It mimics the melanin crystal. Anything that mimics melanin is a free radical and helps you be healthy. And chlorophyll looks just like melanin. It is the plant's melanin. So we're going to use antioxidants. Chlorophyll is one of them. They call them vitamin A, vitamin C, the word ACE, like the ace of spades. Just think of ACE. ACE in selenium, ACE in zinc, antioxidant. And if it's vital to your system, we call it a vital mineral. Hence the word vitamin. When you take a short rest, it makes you acid. And acid eats up your nutrients. So you want to take deep breaths to make your system alkaline and get more air to your cells. Breathing is the key. The more you deep breathe, the less you want to eat food. It helps control your appetite. Deep breathing does. It nourishes you. It satisfies you. It's the key to life. That's why when you were born, the first thing you wanted when you got out of there is to take a breath. That's the key. But we lost a lot of keys when we're trying to get us back together again. I just want everyone to be healthy, because the only balanced state you can be in is a healthy state. And when you're not healthy, you're radical. And that's what we're talking about when we say free radicals. The free radicals irritate another cell. Whenever a cell loses an electron or gains an electron, it is radical. Those are social terms. They tell lay people they get them to buy the supplements. That's all it means. And there's no way you can get energy in your system unless you lose an electron or gain an electron. So anytime you're eating food, you're a radical. The cells in your body are gaining the electrons, so therefore that makes them radicals. Radicals are not harmful any more than a chair is harmful. If you sit in this chair and you fall on your behind, you can say there's something wrong with the chair, but the chair is innocent. It's your behind that's busted. The radical is innocent in the whole situation. It is the state of your health that causes people to find radicals bad. The secret is to keep as much air in your body.
Hey, some goodies. I hope we all taking notes. These some goodies. These some goodies. It's about to get better.
Here, right? Does it grow back? You cut your nails? Does it grow back? You cracked your
You already know who that is.
bones. Does that mend back? But what about the central nerves? His nerve was not only pinched, it was severed. But the doctors could not understand. There's a big space of 4 inches. How could that come back together? You only have to remove the acids that divide them, and they find themselves back through chemical affinity. You cut your hair, right? Does it?
Now, if you guys don't know, I'm going to remind you every time I can find a Dr. Sebi video. He was going blind. He couldn't walk. He had cancer. He had all kind of stuff going on. And he healed himself. All right. Taking a turn.
What I found out is that the courts that we are going to are not real courts. What the bankers have done is when you go to a bank and you sign your signature card, there's little fine print underneath that says subject to the bank rules. And if you read the bank rules, inside is a waiver of your right to a real court. You have waived your right to a real court. What I found.
All right. Remember that. I'm coming back to it. We're going to slide that one down. We're going to come back to it. I thought this was interesting.
Please, as well with along with the Dr. Chef report and the oath of office, please, so I can know what I'm dealing with.
All right.
Do you guys just go by maritime law or common law?
Ma'am, it's not maritime law. You need to learn the law.
Boy, he said, boy, he got stuck. Well, I know he took a big gulp.
Okay? I'm not advising you on the law. I told you I'm not advising you. If you don't know what it is, that's up to you to find out. I'm not advising you on anything on the law, ma'am.
Don't worry about it. I know what it is.
Yep.
That's right. Yeah, I'm a color commentate this one. Yeah, all right. Yeah, that's all right. She said that's all right. I'll figure it out.
Don't ask for any special consideration. You have to perform just as any licensed attorney would here. So if you don't know that, I would strongly recommend you have an attorney represent you. If you don't even know.
Did he say he gonna treat her like a licensed attorney? You know I've shown you guys plenty of times. Hold on. Yeah, gotta cam up on this one. You know plenty of times I've showed Hey, how y'all doing? I show plenty of times. Ask Rock, what up? Daddy and Me podcast, what's up? Original RJ22, what's happening? Richie Rich, what's going on? King Chameleon, American Isness, Big Dog Philly, everybody else that's in here, what's goings on? Now, you know I've shown some videos up here when these people be up here trying to exhort their constitutional rights, they get to asking these questions, they always say, are you a licensed attorney? You better not say yeah. You see, the other one I showed, the guy, they had a warrant out on him because he was trying to act like an attorney. See, so that's the trick. But yeah, she cooking him right now. This dude is already then told on himself plenty of time. He in trouble. Trouble.
If it's a maritime law or not.
It's my right to ask questions.
All right, well, go ahead. As I said, he who represents himself, he or she is a fool for a client, ma'am. Okay. We will have the attorney send you those documents. Madam Clerk, if you can get a standby counsel for this for March 17th at 9 o'clock. Is there anything else we need to take up?
So am I here released?
Yes, you're released.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You need to send all the materials to her. And also, if we can get her brought here from the jail, Madam Clerk. Okay.
That's what I was going to ask for, is to have her written here and then another date before the trial date where standby and Ms. Tubbs would be here, where we would all be on the same page.
Well, we're going to get the standby and do that right away as soon as we get that.
Okay.
We can schedule this for, ma'am, don't interrupt me. I don't interrupt you. You don't interrupt me. All right. We'll schedule this for February 19th at 9 o'clock for assignment of a standby counsel, okay? And if you can make sure that she is on Zoom that day, Madam Clerk. Okay. Is there anything else we need to take up with regard to Ms. Tubbs' gig? And you, ma'am, just so it's clear, you're under oath. You are requesting that there not be an insanity defense. Is that correct?
That's correct. And I also, February 19th,
Madam Clerk, if you can prepare, ma'am, don't interrupt me. Prepare an order that says that she's withdrawing any insanity defense. Okay? All right. What, Ms. Tubbs?
I have another court time at 9 a.m. on February 19th.
All right, then we'll make this February 20th at 9 o'clock. All right?
Thank you.
All right. Anything else we need to take up?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Nothing further. This matter is completed. Everybody have a great day.
Do a discovery package sent to me, please, as well with along with the Dr. Chef report and the oath of office, please, so I can know what I'm dealing with.
Very good. Very good. Very good. This is why I say, if you're going to go up in there taking penitentiary chances, you better know the law, know what you're doing. Just don't give it up. Can't just give it up. Know what you're doing. Know what you're doing. Let's go to the next one. Taking a turn.
Get in here, get in here, get in here. They say, Getty, what's one secret that blew your mind that almost made you cry? And this one thing that literally almost made me cry with the Red Cross and what they did with these slave camps after they flooded Mississippi. And you can go and take a screenshot, right? Go and take a screenshot, right? But one thing I want you to do is read this for yourself. And if you can't see it, you can blow it up. You can blow it up if you can't see it. Take a screenshot and blow it up. One thing that blew my mind is the miles upon acres, millions of acres that when it flooded, when the water receded, these same peoples came back that owned the land right out. They owned the land, they came back. It was immigrants occupying their houses. And not thousands, right? Not hundreds. Millions of homes got occupied by immigrants when the water receded. Now, I don't want to talk about this too much because how are you going to flood and then put them in concentration camps and enslave the indigenous people? You ask yourself, where the mound builders go? Well, millions of people, man, they had to flee. They had to fled. They had to get up out of camp. Man, they took over their land, literally. So when you ask yourself where the mound builders go, where the owners of all the lands, man, they spread it across America. Thanks to the Red Cross. But I don't want to go too deep into it because what I saw and what I read, it made me cry, bro. I ain't gonna lie. These white people are so evil. Oh my God, if you read these records, it'd blow your mind. Man, get in here, get in here, get in here. Man, get in here, get in here, get in here. I need some donations, man. At least $1. I'm about to reveal some secrets about to blow your goddamn mind. Your mind want to be blown? I got so many secrets, but this is like the biggest lot. This is like blow your mind, right? Albert Einstein wasn't the person you thought. This nigga wrote at the patent office. He was stealing patents. And the Black Americans was the first nation on earth to have all the patents because they invented everything, right? So the earth could not survive without black people. That's the secret. You want to know one of the biggest secrets on earth? It's your ass. When God, read the Bible. Just read the damn Bible. And the Bible will show you about the Black Americans. When the Garden of Eden and knowledge and all this and blah, 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 blah. He was talking about the white peoples. When the white peoples came in the Garden of Eden, these peoples already had the damn knowledge. They already invented everything. Let me tell you something. Look this up if you think I'm lying. The patent office was about to close because everything got invented because they invented everything. Nothing could be, I swear to God. The patent office was about to close because black people's invented it all. China wasn't even thought of. How China came up because the black people's inventions and Albert Einstein and Washington, D.C. gave China the patent. That's why they up right now. We down right now. That's it. That's the secret. You want to know the secret? That's why we have nothing. Okay? The Bible tells you this. All right? About the Garden of Eden and the knowledge and all that. Just look it up. All right? All secrets revealed. Man, get in here, get in here, get in here.
All right. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to look at the video I just played or what she was talking about. Now, this lady is a financial person. Seen her a few times, so she's done financials on a high level. And, you know, I want to focus on what she, you know, pretty much was talking about. And you can actually tie it into what I've been sharing with you guys over the last, you know, months. And that's just about your signature. Now, a signature card, she mentions a signature card, and that signature card is also considered a signature guarantee. But even in that situation is what she's saying, you're signing yourself away from a real court. You still have interest in that endorsement, what you do. All right, so what I'm doing right now, I want to tie this in real quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play where'd he go? This guy. I'm going to play this guy. Let me bring him back up. Let me bring this back up. I'm going to play this guy again so I can have time to pull this other information up. But what he's talking about, and when you're looking from what she says and then what he is saying, from the time you're born, you're in debt. There's debt accumulated on you. But on the flip side, it's actually interest accruing. If you got like a CD or a savings account in your deposits, you keep that money in there, it accrues over time. All right. Now, what I'm going to do, we're going to do some show and tell. I'm going to actually show you a counterclaim. I'm going to vacate and a counterclaim. Yours truly did. And really doesn't matter. So it's over. It's like 2026? Yes. 6, 7 years old. So ain't no problem. So what I'll do is I'm going to pull that up. I want to pull up some other things by definition so you guys can actually see if you're into this. If you're trying to make claims and file claims, then, you know, these basic fundamental steps are important to get the party started, right? It's as basically administrative procedures. You go through every single chain. Article 1, Article 2, Article 3 works for you as well. So Article 1 is legislative. Here are these codes. Here is what you're governed by. Here's what you sent me. I have some questions. I need you to validate and verify. I do not see your name on any contracts or agreements that have my signature on it, because my signature creates the trust. I don't care what they say. Your signature creates the trust. Your signature issues credit. Your signature guarantees funding. All right. So let's listen to this guy real quick and then we'll come back around.
But no one's actually living. No one lives like that. You wake up every day in America, already in debt. Before your eyes even open, you owe on your house, you owe on your car, you owe on your education, you owe for your health. Your whole life is chained to subscription services. Debt slavery, wage slavery, subscription slavery. You know, your whole existence is leased. It's on loan from the moment you're born. From the moment you're born, you are plugged into a system that feeds on you financially, psychologically, spiritually, and you're told that all of that is freedom. You're told it's the best thing that ever happened to humanity. It's the best system there is. And you should be grateful. You should be proud. Tell me that isn't cult-like. You live in a bubble of euphemisms. You work like a slave. You sell your time, which is what your life is, by the way. It's time. Your presence in this world is nothing but time. And actually, you don't even sell it, because selling it would imply that you have a choice, but you don't have a choice to sell your time. Do you understand? You have to. That's what I mean. You're literally born in debt, because from the moment that you enter the world, if you live in the West, if you live in America, well, you have to start justifying your existence within the prevailing profit model. You know, whatever intrinsic value that you have as a human being, whatever purpose you might have in this life is subordinated by necessity to a job that you don't care about for people who you don't even know, in a company that would replace you tomorrow with a machine or with AI or with a robot if they could. Your dignity is tied to your productivity. And if you don't produce, you don't deserve to eat. If you don't produce, you don't deserve shelter. You don't deserve peace. You're only worth whatever you can generate monetarily for someone else. So you cope. You consume, you scroll, you eat, you buy things that you don't need on credit to reward yourself with the cold comfort of frivolous goods. You know, reward yourself for all the hard work that you're doing, only to keep the cycle going. You bury yourself in entertainment that makes you feel a little bit less numb for just a few hours. Imagine the only way that you can feel anything similar to being alive is to watch fiction. But you think that's normal because that's what everyone in the cult does. You live alone with little to no human interaction, no human connection. You walk through crowds like a ghost. Your family, most likely, is scattered, is broken, is estranged, again, just like a cult. You know, these are fundamental things that cults do. They break all your relationships. They alienate you from your family. You know, even your friends, most likely, are just avatars on the screen, curated versions of people pretending to not be as miserable as you are, you know, with their Instagrammable perfect lives that no one's actually living. No one lives like that. You wake up every day in America, already in debt.
All right, now let's go over here. Where am I at here? Okay, we're good. Let me go over here to this. Let's play this again.
Out is that the courts that we are going to are not real courts. What the bankers have done is when you go to a bank and you sign your signature card, there's little fine print underneath that says subject to the bank rules. And if you read the bank rules, inside is a waiver of your right to a real court. You have waived your right to a real court.
All right, so let me show you something real quick. Let me come out of here and let me share my whole entire screen. Let me show you this definition right here. Let's go to the entire screen. Let's pull it up. All right. What we have right here is this term. Know it. It's called misprision. Misprision, a definition, is neglect in performing the duties of public office. Law, the criminal offense of concealing. So you see right here, automatic. The criminal offense of concealing or neglecting to report or prevent a felony or act of treason one had knowledge of but did not participate in. Misprision of felony, misprision of treason. Now, we go here. Let's go to my documents. All right, so we're going to come here. Yeah, I know you guys getting the opportunity to look at this file. Big, huh? A lot of stuff. So we're doing show and tell. Show and tell. Just a game I play. We don't know. Man, I don't know the words. Not there. Not there. I don't want to keep jumping around. So let's go. Misprision. Prison. There we go. No, don't want that. Misprision. There we go. 18 USC subsection 4. Here it is. Whoever having knowledge of the actual commission of a felony cognizable by a court of the United States conceals and does not as soon as possible make known the same to some judge or other person in civil or military authority under United States shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 3 years or both. You remember when I was mentioning to you guys about these attorneys, Trenzi versus Pagliaro, right? Trenzi versus Trenzi v. Pagliaro. Okay. This is what it was. All right. That was the key thing. What else does it say here? All right. Now, what I'm going to ask it is said, what did the judge say? What did the judge say regarding an attorney acting as witness? Let's see if this thing is going to be. Let's see. Come on. Come on. The judge addressed the issue by stating that statements of counsel in their briefs or argument are not sufficient for the court to rule on a matter that requires evidence, i.e., counsel can't substitute argument for proper evidentiary proof. Now, that's a proper way of saying counsel cannot make statements while acting as counsel. You either are counsel or witness. You can't be both. Now, once we come here, right? Rule 60. Let's go to Rule 60. Right? Let's go to Rule 60. Rule 60B. Rule 60B of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure allows a court to relieve a party from a final judgment order. So when it says relieve a party from a final judgment order or proceeding, so that means there was a judgment, there was an order, or any type of proceeding, and that will be the defendant, mostly the defendant. Right? For reasons such as mistake, newly discovered evidence, fraud, or any other justifiable reason. A motion under this rule must be made with a reasonable time and for certain reasons, no more than 1 year after the judgment. But when we come down here to Rule 60, and it says, Rule 60B, grounds for relief from a final judgment. Right? Here it is. Rule 60B 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So number 4 is something that's hard to prove, but you say, okay, but the judgment is void. How can a judgment be void? Remember what I mentioned earlier. If a judgment is void based on the fact that it's an incompetent court that does not have subject matter jurisdiction, that makes it an incompetent court. Furthermore, remember Title 42, 1994, right? Go keep that tab right there, 42 USC 1994. All right. It's very important. Nobody uses this. Why? Because nobody knew about it. All right. So right here, it says, I'm just going to go at the bottom. It had all this down here. By virtue of which any attempt shall hereafter be established, maintained, or enforced directly or indirectly, the voluntary or involuntary service or labor of any persons as peons in liquidation of any debt or obligation or otherwise are declared null and void. So if you're able to prove that the contract, based on what she was talking about, right?
What I found out is,
so what she's talking about right here, you can prove this. If if what she's saying is true, you can actually prove this. Because that contract, because if anybody has done this before, and I know people that done this before, I said, hey man, go and get a copy. Tell them you want to see the original Wet Ink signature card that you got. As soon as they go in there, they tell them that's private. We can't provide that to you. Wait a minute, it got my signature on it. Well, we still can't provide it for you. Is it here? Can you at least tell me that? Nope, can't tell you that either. And usually when people request these things, they freeze your accounts or pretty much cancel them out. See, but most people would like to say, well, see, that's that sovereign citizen business. They can do that. Okay, so you're telling me that these people can do whatever they want and you can say nothing about it. That's a slave mentality. Tough talk, but slave mentality. So, Rule 60. Now, I'm going to go to California. And I'm going to deal with California. So where you can find this, Rule 60, this is federal. Rules of Civil Procedure. Mistake, inadvertence, surprise. Let's start with one. Mistake, inadvertence, surprise, or excusable neglect. That is usually on the part of maybe the clerk. Can't be the judge, usually the clerk or the defendant. My bad, I forgot. I didn't get that notice. I didn't get proof of service, or I missed the date. Something happened, or I missed something. I neglected to provide this, important information. Can you give me another opportunity to properly address the issue? Okay, and I'm gonna show you that in my my motion to vacate. And then I'm going to show you the proposed answer and counter, because the proposed answer and counter is pretty much reflecting the vacate. You see? So it says newly discovered evidence that with reasonable diligence could not have been discovered in time to move for a new trial under Rule 59B. So, and that's the same thing too as well. Why? Because they're not disclosing information. You wasn't able to get the information that you needed. So it doesn't matter if you 10, 15 years into a mortgage, it's a 30-year mortgage, but after those 15 years, you just happen to go look at all your interest payments. You look at your billing statement and you say, wait a minute, I bought this house for $250,000 and I still owe $200,000? Hold on, how much am I paying a month? Let me do the math. All right. I didn't have this for 15 years, and I've paid on a $250,000 loan at maybe 3.5. You probably paying somewhere around $900, $1,300, whatever it might be. Let's just make it around $1,000 on $250,000. So that's 15 years ago, though. So this 2011, depending on where you at. Like I said, this is California. You could get you a nice house back 15 years ago, nice little 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 2-bath. Yeah, in the right place, you get $250. You could. You could definitely get it under $300. So let's just say you're paying $1,000, right? You got $1,000, right? You got $250, right? $1,000. So 15 times 12. I want you guys to see the numbers. Where's that mouse at? 15 times 12. So that's 15 years times 12 months. 12 months in a year. That's why I'm adding it up. That is 180. It's 180 months. So I take that and I multiply it by $1,000. That's $180,000. You have paid in interest and some principal, because you always pay more interest than principal, $180,000 in 15 years. That means you only owe $70,000. But your mortgage principal is still saying you owe 200. So how much is going in interest? Hold on. Look in the middle. Look in the middle console. It should be in there. So yeah, you 180. I got 70,000. But your billing statement says, wait a minute. Hold on, y'all. Nah, that's the Cadillac. Hold on. All right. Okay. Yep. All right. So look, you got 180,000. 180,000. You got 70,000 left. That's what it should be. So you look at that, you say, well, shoot, wait a minute. Excuse me, I'm gonna cut the camera off real quick. Wait a minute. I need to contact ABC Bank. I need to know what's going on. Then you look at it, you say, wait a minute. Let me look at this. Let me look at my statement. And then let me look at my deed of trust. Wait a minute. Where's these documents at? Can't even find them. Where they at? So you say, well, hold on. Let me get that application. I know I got the loan application in there. You pull out all your files and all this stuff. You say, okay, yep, that's what it was. That's the percentage. That's how much I'm paying. All right, here's what I need. I need for them to provide me information. So that information is what? Can you give me a full statement of account from the beginning? Please send me everything. You know, I want to know because I'm looking and I paid $180,000 in payments over the last 15 years. And my principal say I still owe 200,000. So where is this going? Oh, well, you know, you got to look at what you look at. Wait a minute. When did you come in? I know you wasn't the one that we closed out. That was CBA Bank. You ABC Bank, CBA Bank. So you request all this, you request the information. Then they don't provide it. You say, okay, all right, we got a problem here. So now you can challenge it. Being that now they have done all of these things, right? Rule 60. Rule 60. Surprise, excusable neglect. Say, wait a minute, I can excuse it based on the fact that you're not a original party to this contract. But here's my newly discovered evidence. Wait a minute, I didn't pay $180,000, man. It's only $70,000. So that means that if I bought the house out $250 and I knew that it probably was worth $300, I got a good deal on it. I had $50,000 equity in it. There's $250,000 so-called secured lien on it. I've already paid $180,000 on that. So now that $180,000 goes to my equity, which is $230,000. There's still $70,000 outstanding. So I should be looking pretty good. Now what I can do is I could take 70 out. I could take a little HELOC or home equity investment. Best to take out a home equity investment type loan. Why? Because you don't have to pay it until you sell it. As long as somebody living there, even if you quit claim it over to your children or whatever you're doing, and you want to move on, the house is still under the owner. So as long as you don't sell it, you never have to pay it back. That is what you call HEI. I could pull that 70 out and pay them off. And guess what? I got a $70,000 loan, equity investment, actually a home equity investment line of credit that I ain't got to pay till the end. But guess what? That didn't knock out that whole 30-year mortgage, 15 years. But you wouldn't know that because you never was told. So this is newly discovered evidence that with reasonable diligence could not have been discovered in the time to move for a new trial. Number 3, fraud, whether previously called intrinsic or extrinsic misrepresentation, right? So what's the misrepresentation? You're telling me that you're the lender and the creditor and that I owe you when really you're not a part of the contract. So show me the contract. Show me the contract. Show me how you became lender. Because if you're not a lender, you're a debt buyer. Or misconduct by an opposing party. What could be the misconduct? Well, the misconduct is you have changed the contract. You have increased the interest. You have moved money from where it should go to principal to the interest. You know, things like that. Misconduct can vary. The judgment is void. I already said that. Now you got me in a 30-year contract, which is an indentured. I have shown that and we have proved that a 30-year mortgage, even a 3 to 5 year mortgage on your car is an indentured contract. And it's a voluntary or involuntary. What does it say here? It's an involuntary or voluntary. Well, it was directly or indirectly. I'm trying to say it right. Let me slow down. Directly or indirectly. Voluntary or involuntary enforcement for me to be in service or labor as a peon for 30 years, 3 years, 5 years. Doesn't matter. If I'm in service or labor over a period of time, that is peonage. In the representation of me being a homeowner or somebody loaning me money so I can buy a home or buy land. So we have that. The other thing, the judgment has been satisfied, release, or discharge. It is based on an earlier judgment that has been reversed or vacated. Rare. 6, any other reason that justifies relief. You can just add that. Right? That's B. Let's come down to D. Other powers to grant relief. This rule does not limit a court's power to entertain an independent action to relieve a party from a judgment, order, or proceeding. See? Doesn't limit a court's power to entertain an independent action to relieve a party from a judgment or order or proceeding. So that can be anybody else that might have been affected by it that can come in independently. Because you got B and you got D. Could be a nonprofit. It can be, you know, somebody like you have, like, you know, weak programs like ACLU or any type of pro bono people that advocate. Number 2, grant relief under 28 USC 1655 to a defendant who is not personally notified of the action. So if they said that they did proof of service, so on and so forth, here you go. Number 3, set aside a judgment for fraud on the court. Now, this is where Trinzi versus Pagliaro comes in as well, and what we're talking about in regards to these attorneys operating as debt collectors. Now, when we go over here to where we're at here, let's go to California law on motions to vacate judgments. All right. Where is that? Anyway. All right. So to understand the process of where I'm going with this, I want, when you come over here, we're going to think outside the box, right? You have to be forceful. You can't tiddlywink, tiptoe through this. You have to go straight forward. This is the only way you're going to get the judge to stay neutral. Because the judge is going to do one or two things. Be quiet or start talking. And once that judge starts talking, all right, so let me show y'all something. I want to show y'all that. All right. Now, this is a motion to vacate. I moved away my name as much as I could. If it's there, it's there. If it ain't there, it ain't there. All right, this is a notice of motion, a motion to vacate default and default judgment. As you can see, this is 2021, so they had us 5 years ago, right? Points of authorities by special deposit. Now, if you guys been here long enough, you'll know what special deposit is. You say, how can you deposit something into court? Well, you can. Now, as we come down here, that's just an introduction. All right. So it says, plaintiffs filed suit against defendants. I had a lot of typos on here. This is how powerful it was. I had so many typos on here. They didn't care. They got the gist of it. They was like, nah, he don't need to fix this. Get him out of here. Now, says defendant failed to pay American Express credit card payments for accounts ending in da-da-da-da-da. See plaintiff's complaint on file. Default was entered. Now, this is before, as you see, this is before what? ChatGPT. All right. Defendant contends that default and judgment were obtained through intrinsic fraud or mistake, and that Amex has set aside their pursuit of the alleged debt based on the letters Amex sent me, but Ray McDavi with the Moore Law Group, ACH, after multiple successful attempts to relay that information to them and to confirm with Amex, continue to keep this act against public law of fraudulently operating as a debt collector against public law PL, which is public law 99-361 1986 HR, which is House Resolution 237, July 9, 1986, and the California Consumer Privacy Act of 2018, which is in subsections 8132A, 8132B2 of $500,000 or 1% of the net worth of Jaffe and Asher and the Moore Law Group, Amex, in this court clerk and presiding judge. You see that? And this court clerk and presiding judge by the fines imposed under subsections 1692K of the FDCPA, which is Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, and 15 U.S.C.A., which is the United States Code annotated. See the declaration of Thomas J. Aton-Carriot exhibits attached thereto, filed and served concurrently and incorporated herein by reference. Here is the propose, answer, encounter. That's it. As you can see, there's Exhibit A. Now, the default and judgment. Now, right there, you say, oh, well, why'd you see people say, oh, yeah, you try to put something on them judges, boy, they're going to do this and they're going to do that. Yeah. If you properly address it. This is civil in nature. This is civil in nature. You don't worry about that. This is why this case was dismissed within 24 hours. I don't even think they even communicated with the attorneys. I think they was like, get this out of here. All right. So the default and judgment were obtained through extrinsic fraud or mistake due to the fact that I have been kept in ignorance thereof and have been prevented from fully participating therein. Remember when I mentioned in rem proceedings? See what I'm saying? In rem proceedings. The body. They just want the thing. They don't care about the actual living man or living woman. They just want the thing, the property, the estate, the trust, whatever that they can get their hands on that they can turn into property, chattel property. Title 42, 1994. I didn't know about Title 42, 1994 at this time. I just found out about it probably maybe a year or two after this, not too long. You see what I'm saying? Everybody focuses on 1983. Now, let's continue. So you remember Rule 60. Just keep Rule 60 in mind and just listen to the language. You know what I'm saying? I was kept in ignorance. I didn't know what was going on, obviously. And I wasn't being able to fully participate, and they knew that. This is how they got the default on me. It's because they wanted me to pay. Now, I'm not paying a dime. Y'all brought me in here. I'm not paying you a dime. So they kept kicking it out, and then they put me in default. And now this was in 2019. This is in 2021, 2 years later, and I won. Now, you see the rule said at least 1 year. Mine was in 2. Now, it says from fully participating therein in which there was no true adversary proceeding. The reason why, was no true adversary proceeding, the reason why I am attacking the judgment. Now you say, well, attacking, that's kind of strong there. Well, that's the language they understand. Furthermore, I was prevented from exhibiting fully my case by fraud or deception practiced on me by my opponent, shows that there has never been a real contest in the trial or hearing of the case. See exhibits presented by plaintiff. So they got to go back and show everything to the what the plaintiff filed. Defending counsel concealed vital information to the validity of the debt and created by, boom, here we go. Now, you're going to be like, well, what's this? What's this? What's this? But let me read this again. Defendant and counsel concealed vital information to the validity of the debt and created by. This is how it was created. That Amex exhibit the original credit application or account receivables hereinafter contract unaltered with original blue ink signatures. that counsel show me identification in their authority to act or do a presentment for payment on behalf of Amex as mandated by subsection 35012B of the California Commercial Code. Now, what you're going to notice is, and I'll just tell you, you're not going to see Uniform Commercial Code. You're going to see California. The reason why is because they got to follow California law. They have to be licensed, bonded, registered, everything. Got to be right. All right. Now, that Amex sign a receipt for the instruments for payment made in full accord and satisfaction under subsection 3311 of the California Commercial Code by securitization of the contract under the transfer and servicing agreement, and to surrender the estimate to me as mandated by subsection 35012C of the California Commercial Code. What I just said right there is they already been paid in full. And these codes is what provides it. All right, let's keep going. Amex produced a schedule and balance sheet RCL showing financial receivables or assets, RCL call reports, emergency securitization of the retail sales for installment contract as an off-balance sheet item under the transfer and servicing agreement, and the accounting ledger, that was a mouthful, for the above alleged count for credit transaction to show that Amex is in compliance with the Financial Accounting Standards Board number 95 statement of cash flows, and credited my payments as cash deposit and receipts as a payer when an entry was made under subsection 1813.111 of, I think that's L. Yeah, I had some typos. 1813L of Title 12. Title 12 is your Federal Reserve Board, your Federal Reserve Act, I would say. That's codified. Title 12 is the codified for the Federal Reserve. I will also want to see the 1099A as an acquisition and 1099 OID as an original issue discount, and the U.S. Information of Tax Return Form 1096, which is your transmittal that attaches to the 1099, showing the capital transfer tax withheld and paid out as a taxable termination. I'm looking over at my phone, making sure y'all still there. They ain't kicked me off yet. All right. So the taxable termination, distribution, or transfer by the trustee of the transfer and servicing agreement under 2511, 2603, 2611A of Title 26 of the Internal Revenue Code. Otherwise, Amex and counsel are in possession of contraband. Now, you guys heard me say that. If it crossed state lines, that is what? Trafficking. And what are you trafficking? Contraband. See? Now, upon which a lien has attached under 6324C2 of Title 26 of the Internal Revenue Code under the capital transfer tax is paid in full. Now, let's come down here. These are what all things I want. One of all the things I want. Now, right here, number 5. Why did I put that in there? That California is a territory of Mexico. That California, as a territory of Mexico, was ceded to the United States in pursuance of the provisions of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo on March 2nd, 1848 by Nicholas Trist. Why is that important? Because based on my understanding that the treaty was changed. And this is what I always tell people, if you heard me say that, if you don't have a valid treaty, you don't have a constitution, period. Why do you think California is the way it is? Why do you think that these codes are so connected to the Uniform Commercial Code? Only thing missing is a dash. It's a dash. All right. Now it says right here, I am a beneficiary, heir, and the constituent member of the people of the United States, like that, and their posterity under the preamble of the Constitution of the United States of America as an inheritance from the Constitutional Trust. And since I am challenging subject matter and in personam jurisdiction under Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 12B 1, 2, and 6, and Amex as trustees under U.S. bankruptcy at 48 Stat 112 March 3, 1933, and the California Constitutional Trust, and yourself as fiduciary trustees of this constitutional trust, have a fiduciary duty and an oath of office to uphold this constitutional trust for the benefit of the posterity and beneficiaries, and an obligation and responsibility to protect my rights, defenses, and remedies, statutory and procedural, as a sovereign of California. There ain't no Indian conversation in here, right? That fiduciary language, duty, oath of office, all these things, I'm talking to the judge. I'm talking to the clerk. You know clerks take oaths, right? They do. There is a chief clerk. All right? So you should be aware that I am in receipt, in possession of Amex 424B5 prospectus, which establishes evidences the following indisputed. See, that's a typo. That Amex 4, bam, there you go. Based on the above facts and the securitization, all of this right here. All of this right here. Everything. Right? And remember that I showed you Title 31, subsection 5118 D2. So let me read that one. That's what I was looking for. Amex contract violates subsection 8 of the National Bank Act of June 3rd, 1864. Wait a minute, what happened to 1933? Well, 70 years prior. Remember, I don't know if you guys know that, but certain people that might be in the chat listening have heard me say these things happen in 70-year increments. $1934 minus 70 is 1864 minus 70. Okay. It's 17. What is that? 1790. No, 70 years. 1794. All right. What happened in 1790? 1794. 1790, first federal census. 1794, shift. All right. Now, there was two 70s on two sides, though, because mine was 1929, the bankruptcy. You had the Great Depression. Minus 70, which was 1859, that started the Civil War. And then another 70 years after that was 1729. No, 1789. I'm sorry, 1789. Right? It's just 1789. That's the 1790. So you have those two periods, but in the 70-year period, I got me rethinking it now. From right here, the National Bank Act of June 3rd, 1864 was the declaration of bankruptcy. Now, when I show you this right here, I'm just going to come off it real quick. Let's go to there it is, executive order. All right. So right here, it says, now this is 1933. 1933. This is Roosevelt. This is executive order. This is what he says right here. By virtue of authority in me by this, that, 1917, as amended by Section 2 of the Act of March 9, 1933, entitled an act to provide relief in the existing national emergency in banking. And then he says, and for other purposes, in which a mandatory act Congress declared that a serious emergency exists. And then he says down here, and he does declare that said national emergency still continues to exist. And pursuant to that, do hereby prohibit the hoarding of gold coin, gold bullion, and gold certificates within the continental United States. Now, what I have right here, this is the National Bank Act. This National Bank Act was a national banking emergency. Wait a minute. Nobody told us that Abraham Lincoln filed bankruptcy. Why? Civil War. Remember, he started printing all that money. Shit, what did the Federal Reserve do? Print that money. What are they printing? The same greenbacks that Lincoln was printing. Anyway, somewhere in the middle, somewhere. All right. So wherein only lawful money based on personal security may be loaned us. Wherein only lawful money based on personal security may be loaned us. See also Title 12, subsection 24, paragraph 7 of the USC. So I am challenging the validity of any alleged debt under Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution of the United States. That's why I mention it. And its entirety. It should say, and in its entirety under the Fair Debt Collections Act of Title 15, 1692, and Title 31, subsection 5118 D2, as their alleged retail sales and credit installment contracts violates public policy. Now, let's go back here. 31 USC 5118. Remember when I told you guys this, right? Remember when I showed you guys this, you guys and gals? D2. D2. And you can't also forget A2. Public debt obligation, meaning a domestic obligation issued or guaranteed by the United States government to repay money or interest. That doesn't mean they're issuing it for us to repay it. They're issuing it for them to repay it. And these institutions that work within as middlemen and brokering these accounts between us and the United States government, being that they're now the constitutional government and removed Article 1, Section 10, can no longer do business with us. This is what the Trading with the Enemy Act is about. So in order for that to happen, they had to create a middleman and a remedy. So, and these people then, it backfired. Just put it that way. It backfired. Now, D2 says, an obligation issue containing a gold clause, lawful money, or governed by a gold clause and discharged on payment, dollar for dollar, in United States coin or currency that is legal tender at the time of payment. That's why I got that in there. Now, right here, if anybody's familiar with conditional acceptance, and then we'll go to Black's Law and we can go to acceptance. Right? So I am conditionally, after I broke all that down, here's everything I got. Now, what I'm saying is, I conditionally accept your offer. Right? And then I added counsel's demand. Right? So this is where I kind of get in on counsel a little bit. I am conditionally accepting Amex in counsel's demand to pay credit installment contract on proof of claim. That's how it starts. I will gladly pay you on Tuesday for a burger today. So Popeye thing. But you see? Now, it says, number one, that there has been ratification of commencement by the real party in interest under the transfer and sales agreement that Amex has registered title, ownership of the retail installment contract. Now, what I say right here, that there has been ratification of commencement by the real party in interest. Now, what I'm also saying in this, when you see real party in interest outside of me, is I'm saying I need this to be done by the real party in interest. It need to be done by the real party in interest. Now, if Amex is the real party in interest, they need to come forward. If it's counsel or the firm, they need to come forward. Somebody need to come forward as a real party in interest. And even if Amex was still a part of it, are they the real party in interest? Can't be. It's only one. Why? Because there's only one signature. Mine. All right. So Amex is the provider for the lender. In fact, Amex is the holder in due course. Amex, I have not, that's a typo. Amex has not securitized the retail credit sales installment contract, which they did. Amex is not, see, all that's typos, is not violating public policy by demanding payment in any specific coin or currency. And this is the other key. What forms of payment do you accept? Pay attention. Here it is. Here it is. Pay attention. What form of payments do you accept? That right there is a trap to say, I hope you answer, because that means you're forcing me to pay in a specific coin, specie, or currency. That's another one. They're not answering that. Amex did not receive payment in full in the form of numerous bankers' acceptances and Class 2 government-issued securities that were authorized for settlement through GSA Form, Standard Form 28, Optional Form 90, and Optional Form 91. Now, what is Standard Form 28 in GSA? GSA is Governmental Service Authority or something, administration, something like that. Standard Form 28 is what you would call affidavit of individual surety. Now, these are bonds. These are contracts. Optional Form 90 is release of lien on property. Optional Form 91 is a release of property from escrow. Okay, you guys can go check that out. We're not going to pull those up. As well as a written authorization for use of said securities to set off, settle, and close this account. Amex did not dishonor me by accepting payment and refusing to ledger account balance to zero. Okay, these you really don't need. But this is just to, really make them be quiet. Amex has not monetized, alter, or endorsed any of the payment instruments without recourse that were presented by me regarding this account. And that Amex, the Moore Law Group, ACH, and now Jaffe and Asher LLP are not in violation of subsection 856 of the Internal Revenue Code. That's what I read to you yesterday. Codified under Title 26, California Revenue and Taxation Codes 248070, 24900, Public Law. That's what I read before, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, and the California Consumer Protection Act. Defendant denies all the allegations of plaintiff's complaint and contends that I am not responsible for plaintiff's damages. Defendant has prepared a proposed answer, copy of which is attached. I did that already, right? Now, we're going to come over here to the answer. So in this answer, the opening is everything. This is all I'm going to show you because it's pretty much the same thing. I am writing by special appearance in private in response to this court's recent summons and notice of default judgment. Abstract of judgment that I was served on date on behalf of plaintiff American Express Corporation here and after Amex and there. I am conditionally accepting I don't know why I said that's a typo. Offer. This is like a draft. This is my finished draft. And summons to appear under subsection 350123, so on and so forth. Here we go. Now, we have right here as well my counters. In the sample motion, we go back up to the top, right? When we go back up to the top, you'll see right here that special appearance, I edit that stuff out. Special appearance and special deposit without waiving any equitable or legal rights, remedies, or defenses, statutory, procedural, as the donor, grantor, beneficiary of the deed of trust. Say, wait a minute, this is a credit card. Well, it's deed of trust. Those things are everywhere, and it's attached to everything. All right. So we have, right? We have the motion to vacate, and it was vacated. And let's go over here to what a conditional acceptance is, because this is your power. All right, this is your power. Let's get this out. All right. Acceptance. The taking and receiving of anything in good part as it were a tacit agreement to a preceding act, which might have been defeated or avoided if such acceptance had not been made. The act of a person to whom a thing is offered or tendered by another, whereby he receives the thing with the intention of retaining it. Okay, so we got bills of exchange. Bills of exchange. An engagement to pay the bill in money when due. Contracts. Compliance by offeree the terms and conditions of offer would constitute an acceptance. Deed. Act by which vendee vests himself with title to the property. Now we got down here. We have a absolute acceptance. Right? An express and positive agreement to pay the bill according to its tenor. That's usually not the case in our contracts because we're not expressing anything. They're telling us to sign because we're providing you some credit or we're providing you some money so you can go purchase something. Now, the conditional is an engagement to pay the bill on the happening of a condition. It's like what I did. A conditional acceptance is in effect a statement that the offeree is willing to enter into a bargain differing in some respects from that proposed in the original offer. The conditional acceptance is therefore itself a counter offer. So as soon as I did a conditional acceptance, I even the level, I even the playing field. You stay down here, they're going to keep you down there. Once you put in a counterclaim or you do a conditional acceptance right within your answer, you see what I'm saying? That's the polite way of not just doing an answer with affirmative defenses and doing a separate counterclaim. You can actually do a conditional acceptance within that within the answer and address everyone. What they call it affirmative defenses. But what I say is you put a conditional acceptance in there and you put a power of appointment in there as well. And you make sure that everybody stays still. That's the fiduciary language. Oath of office. Make sure that they will stay still. You get there coming in talking all this hocus pocus, oh yeah, they're going to run right through you. But your paperwork has to speak for itself. Can't be no other way. All right. Now, let's go to look at the chat. Did I run everybody off? Oh, few people still here. What's going on? Who here? None of your business? Nonetheless, what's happening? Derek Cobb. What's going on? Derek, you don't need a non-UCC one. Don't need that. It's not necessary in this matter. You can add that as your collateral. You can take that, add that as collateral. You can do that private. It doesn't have to be submitted into court. Once you address them and ask them if they have the original unaltered wet ink signature and can they provide any proof of claim, you can actually just go ahead and go search the UCC in the state. You can search the UCC and the Secretary of State website. Check the UCC there. You know what I'm saying? You could do that. You also can check. My check will be New York, Delaware, because that's where most of them have got their businesses set up. Delaware. You also want to set something up and take a look in Maryland. But yeah, non-UCC one, all that stuff, that's private. A non-UCC one is basically just giving notice. So that is for, just adding some extra meat on the bone to what you're doing. But it's not technically necessary. But when you're dealing with a big matter, a big case, yeah, you want to do that. You want to make sure you let them know, because you already know that they're monetizing, they're securitizing these accounts. But yeah, I'm just checking to see if there's anything else I can pull up. Oh yeah, that's right. I want to pull it. Oh yeah. No, I pulled that up. Let's go here. Let's get rid of these. No. Let me pull up these codes so you guys can know this. Let me bring these up. Let's see. Let's go here. Collection. All right, we're about to pull these up. I gotta go get them off the photo so that way I'm not just all right, so look, we are going to come here. We are going to come here and we're going to start from the beginning. Now, this is Title 18. If you don't know Title 18, Title 18 is the Federal Criminal Code. All right, I'm going to keep my camera off on this one. Let's move this over here and change my position. This chair just keeps leaning back. That's why I keep turning over to the side so it can go up against this wall. Now, so it says right here, 661, within special maritime and territorial jurisdictions, whoever within the maritime, hold on, let me make sure. I got to make sure I'm making no mistakes. Everybody sees. Okay, hold on. Can we get a definition of acceptance? Well, I gave you the acceptance. You want a definition of avoidance? I don't have no problem doing that. Let's come back over here. Let's go over to avoidance. All right, let's go over to avoidance. Let's bring it on down. Okay. So here we go. There it is right there. Let's blow it up a little bit. Boom. All right, avoidance, a making void, useless, empty, or of no effect, annulling, canceling, escaping, or evading. English, ecclesiastical law, we don't care. Parliamentary, we don't care. Okay. So I think that's where we're at with it. So in pleading, allegation or statement of new matter in opposition to a former pleading, which admitting the facts alleged in such former pleading shows cause why they should not have their ordinary legal effect. All right, I got you now. Oops. All right. So let's go down here to let's go down here to 18 U.S.C. 661 within special maritime and territorial jurisdiction. It says whoever within the special maritime and territorial jurisdiction of the United States takes and carries away with intent to steal or purloin any personal property of another shall be punished as follows. If the property is taken is of a value exceeding $1,000 or is taken from the person of another by a fine under this title, or imprisonment not more than 5 years, or both. In all other cases, by a fine under this title or by imprisonment not more than 1 year, or both. If the property stolen consists of any evidence of debt, or other written instrument, the amount of money due thereon or secured to be paid thereby, and remaining unsatisfied, or which in any contingency might be collected thereon, or the value of the property, the title to which is shown thereby, or the sum which might be recovered in the absence thereof shall be the value of the property stolen. Now listen. Look, listen. They're coming in the jurisdiction of what? Automatically. Remember what the young lady said. The young lady said that at the bottom of that signature card, they have it in there that you have waived your right to a real court proceeding. And you pretty much are subjected to the authority and jurisdiction and codes and policies or whatever of that bank, what they want to operate in. That is involuntary servitude and peonage. That is an indenture. That is a form of slavery, right? Peonage. Now, if they've actually taken that instrument, right, that signature card, which then they monetized, which they do, and they did not disclose the fact that you were actually giving them that authority by signing that specific signature card, this complies. This will comply with the issue. So you started off with a mortgage loan application with a CBA bank. CBA bank then, after 9 months to a year or whenever, takes out a claim on the policy or does not take a claim out on the policy and sells those instruments, those negotiable instruments, at a discount. Then ABC Bank comes in and says, now you owe me. There's been an assignment, and now you owe me X amount of dollars per month. Here's your new loan number, right? Here's your new loan number, but nothing's changed. It just was assigned to ABC Bank. So it was assigned to ABC Bank, and then ABC Bank now says that we're the lender now, and now you owe us. So does this pertain? I think it does. Let's go to the next one. Let's go up here. Now, people always talk about Title 15, and you got Truth in Lending Act, you got Fair Debt Collection Practices, you got Fair Credit Reporting Act, Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act. You got all those things, right? But nobody talks about Title 18. Injury. Injury comes in many forms of fashion. You don't have to actually be physically, I would say, injured by somebody punching you. You see what I'm saying? Putting their hands on you. Doesn't have to be that way. Injuries come in many forms of fashion. They talk about mental health, correct? They talked about PTSD, stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe. So let's see. 86, male threatening communication. Oh, has anybody ever? See? I didn't put the thing up there. See what I'm saying? I didn't put the thing up there. So, has anybody, but we're good. We're still on time. Let me go ahead and do this. Has anybody has had threatening communication by ABC, CBA Bank by mail? Anybody. Just saying ABC and CBA. Anybody threatening communication by mail? Where they said, hey, if you don't pay us within 90 days, or if you don't pay us within 10 days, we're going to do this, and this. Have you ever had any of them show up? Have you had any of them use a third party to confiscate your property? I.e. tow truck. But prior to that happening, you've got something in the mail. People say, well, that's not, yeah, it's a threat. If you don't do this, I'm going to do that. That's like Carmelo's situation where he said, touch me and you'll find out. Don't pay us and you'll find out. We will come get that car. Now it says, whoever knowingly deposits in any post office or authorized depository for mail matter to be sent or delivered by the Postal Service or knowingly causes to be delivered by the Postal Service according to the direction thereon, any communication with or without a name or designating mark. Subscribe thereto, addressed to any other person and containing any demand or request for ransom or reward for the release of any kidnapped person shall be fined under this title in prison not more than 20 years or both. That's kidnapping. Whoever with intent to extort from any person any money or other communication, thing of value so deposits or causes to be delivered as aforesaid any communication containing any threat to kidnap any person or any threat to injure the person of the addressee or of another shall be fined. Whoever knowingly so deposit cause to be delivered as aforesaid any communication with or without a name or designating mark subscribed thereto, addressed to any other person containing any threat to kidnap any person or any threat to injure the person of the addressee or of another shall be fined under this title in prison no more than 5 years. Whoever with the intent to extort from any person any money or other thing of value knowingly so deposit cause to be delivered as aforesaid any communication with or without a name, designated mark subscribed thereto, addressed to any other person and containing any threat to injure the person or reputation of the addressee or of another, or of the reputation of a deceased person, or any threat to accuse the addressee or any other person of a crime shall be fined under this title in prison no more than 2 years. This is the one we want. I just want to read them all to you because in every situation, something is different. Kidnapping can be what? Take me out my automobile, put me in yours, and take me over there. Kidnapping. Could be. And you're extorting money out of me. If you don't pay this amount of money, guess where you going? Folsom. All right. Wait a minute. That's not kidnapping. Well, if you think that way, good luck. But this one, D, is the one we're at here. Whoever with the intent to extort from any person, any money, or other thing of value knowingly so deposits or causes to be delivered as aforesaid any communication by mail, using the postal service, with or without a name, subscribe thereto, addressed to any other person containing any threat to injure the property. How will the property be injured? You strap that thing on a tow truck, anything can happen to it. You kick down a door, you open up a gate, or you do anything and you remove that and you change things and locks and do all this stuff. Everything that you can think about is an injury to the property. Or reputation of the addressee or of another. The reputation. So you're putting in the mail through the postal service, right? It goes through the postal service. And they say you're a debtor. You're delinquent. You're in default. You're this, you're that. You owe me. This is who we are. This is who you are. So on and so forth. That is considered to be threatening or trying to injure the reputation. When you knowingly are doing this with the intent to deceive. You see. You remember in the Uniform Bonding Code where I read is that, yeah, the first thing is always Title 18. The first thing is always the criminal code because they trespassed upon you. Once they do this by mail, mail is everything. On top of that, you got mail fraud. You see? All right, let's go on to the next one. Extortion by officers or employees. Where are we at here? Extortion by officers or employees of the United States. I liked reading what I just did. I did that a long time ago. I'm going to get back to that. Stop taking shortcuts. Get back to that. But yeah, so this is extortion, right? Whoever being an officer or employee of the United States or any department or agency thereof, or representing himself to be or assuming to act as such, under color or pretense of office or employment, commits or attempts an act of extortion, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 3 years or both. Remember what I said in my motion to vacate. Article 1, Section 10. Our debts to be paid. You come in anywhere and you say, yeah, I need to get this thing filed. They said, well, in order for this to get filed, it's going to cost you $175. You say, in what money? Oh, in what money? Okay. What forms of payments do you accept? Oh, we accept check, money order, or you could just say card, debit card, credit card, or whatever. Then we'll accept that. Or we don't accept cash, or we accept cash too as well. They ain't already put these elected officials have already put these sub employees in a position where they can be arrested on spot. That is a criminal violation. You're demanding a payment in a specific species, and if it doesn't get done, you will refuse service. You guys like that? All right. Next one. Making extortionate extensions of credit. Whoever makes any extortionate extension of credit or conspires to do so shall be fined under this title in prison not more than 20 years. Woo. 20 years. That's 20 years. Making extortionate extensions of credit. Number one, you're saying that you're extending me credit and you're not. Number two, you have these, you're going to take this credit at 25% APR interest, so on and so forth. And I'm extending you lines of credit, a home equity line of credit where you're not even going to be paying down the principal. All you paying is interest only payments forever. And you don't even get to utilize the card. See, a lot of people don't know. You get a home equity line of credit for a certain amount. Once that amount's used up, you don't get to refill that credit card. Anybody ever think about that? Did anybody even know that a home equity line of credit is a credit card? Well, you know now. So that's 20 years. $893. Financing extortionate extensions of credit. Whoever willfully advances money or property, whether as a gift, as a loan, as an investment, pursuant to a partnership or profit sharing agreement or otherwise to any person with reasonable grounds to believe that it is the intention of that person to use the money or property so advanced directly or indirectly for the purpose of making extortionate extensions of credit shall be fined under this title or an amount not exceeding twice the value of the money or property so advanced, whichever is greater, or shall be in prison not more than 20 years or both. So if the bank is coming at you, say, we're loaning you money, loaning you money, and you already know off top, no, you're not. No, you're not. But go along with it. And let's say you believe them. Or let's say even better, you don't know. And you rely on what they're saying to be true. But you know for a fact that they're borrowing this money from the Federal Reserve through the Treasury in order to extend you the credit that you have just, not extend you the credit, but provide you the credit that you extended to them through the letter of credit, which is the application, being that you are an applicant under definition 5 USC 102. I mean, UCC, my bad. Title 5 UCC 102. Okay? They know it's not their money. They know it is their money. Deposits are for what? Banks loan money off of the deposits. You don't believe me? All right. You ain't got to believe me. You ain't got to believe me. That's cool. I'm going to show you. I think it's here. I don't know. You guys might have me, but I think it's here. Dang, that thing went fast. All right, here we go. Let's see if I'm right. You know I like to be right. Deposit slip, an acknowledgement that the amount named therein has been received by the bank. It is a receipt intended to furnish evidence as between the deposit and depositary that on a given date there was deposit in sum named. Boom, boom. Depositary, party receiving a deposit, on with whom anything is lodged in trust. As depositary is the place where it is put. A trustee, semicolon fiduciary, semicolon one to whom goods are billed to be held without recompense. The obligation on the part of the depositary is that he keep the thing with reasonable care. Upon request, restore it to depositor or otherwise deliver according to the original trust. Now, all right. Hold on. Wait a minute. Okay, hold on. Banking law, the act of placing or lodging money in the custody of a bank or banker for safety or convenience to be withdrawn at the will of the depositor or the rules, regulation agreed upon. Also, the money so deposited or the credit which the depositor receives for it. All right. Damn. Uh-oh. I wasn't able to get there fast enough. That's a special deposit. Hold on. Let's get over here. Hold on. Let's go back over here. Let's get over here. Nope. 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 Damn. Nope. All right. I'm not going to look for it, but just take my word for it. All right. Let's get back over here. All right. Now, before we get here, just to get on the financing part, right? We're on the financing part. Based on what I think everybody knows that's listening, would agree that there is no money, and the money that comes through these banks are actually being extended through the deposits of the people. They actually take those deposits and utilize those. And I showed it. I just don't remember where I saw it at. I thought I saw it in Black's Law. But what they do is they take those deposits, they hypothecate on those deposits, and utilize that to provide what you would consider to be loans and extensions of credits and things like that. But the money that they are utilizing are our deposits. Now, if we come in with no money, right, and we're looking for a loan of some sort, then those funds and those signature cards are the cards that are being utilized to insure. That's where the FDIC and the NCUA comes in order to insure a lot of these products that they're doing. And they say, oh, we only insure up to $250,000. Really? Nah. So, just so we know that. Now, collection of 18 USC section 894, collection of extensions of credit by extortion. It means whoever knowingly participates in any way or conspires to do so in the use of any extortionate means to collect or attempt to collect any extension of credit or to punish any person for the non-repayment thereof shall be fined under this title in prison not more than 20 years or both. So wait a minute. Wait. So it says whoever knowingly participates in any way or conspires to do so in the use of any extortionate means to punish any person for the non-repayment thereof. So if you extended me credit and I don't pay you back and you try to punish me for that, you can go to jail. You guys got that, right? Go ahead. Get that. Yeah, well, no. Let's go to B. Let's see what B says. If any prosecution under this section for the purpose of showing an implicit threat as a means of collection evidence may be introduced tending to show that one or more extensions of credit by the creditor were to the knowledge of the person against whom the implicit threat was alleged to have been made, collected or attempted to be collected by extortionate means, or that the non-repayment thereof was punished by extortionate means. If in any prosecution, got it? In any prosecution of this section of evidence has been introduced, wherein C, tending to show the existence that the time the extension of credit in question was made of the circumstance described, 892B1, 892B2, we already had looked at that, and direct evidence, actual belief of the debtor as to the creditor's collection practices is not available, then for the purpose of showing that the words or other means of communication shown to have been employed as a means of collection, in fact, carried an express or implicit threat, the court may, in its discretion, allow evidence to be introduced. All right, there we go. No, it's got to make sense, though. It's got to make sense. Hold on. Okay, this is twice. Okay, this thing is in there twice. Boom. Let's cut that out. Well, how's this? There you go. Impersonator, make an arrest or search. You guys know about this one? Got it? Make it sit there for a second. Whoever falsely represents himself to be an officer, agent, or employee of the United States and in such assumed character arrests or detains any person or in any manner searches the person, buildings, or other property of any person shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 3 years or both. Got it. There you go. There you go. Whoever falsely assumes or pretends to be an officer or employee acting under the authority of the United States or any department, agency, or officer thereof and acts as such or in such pretended character demands or obtains any money, paper, document, or thing of value shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 3 years or both. Beep. There we go. Y'all got that? Got 2 more. Then we're done. Citizen of the United States. What's this one? Okay, let's do this one first. 1028. Fraud and related activity in connection with identification documents, authentication features, and information. Whoever, in circumstance described in subsection C of this section, knowingly and without lawful authority produces an identification document, authentication feature, or a false identification document, knowingly transfers an identification document, so on and so forth, knowing that such document or feature was stolen or produced without lawful authority, knowingly possesses with intent to use unlawful or transfer unlawful 5 or more identification documents. Let's go over here. Knowingly possesses an identification document. Number 5, knowingly produces, transfer, or possesses a document making an implement. Number 6, knowingly possesses an identification document. Knowingly transfer, possesses, knowingly traffics in false or actual authentication features. Let's go back up here. Knowingly transfer, possesses, or uses without lawful authority a means of identification of another person with the intent to commit or to aid or abet or in connection with any unlawful activity that constitutes a violation of federal law or that constitutes a felony, only traffics in false or actual authentication, shall be punished. Punishment for offense under subsection 15 years. Now you say, well, how is that? You got identification documents, right? Somebody's coming to you with an identification document. For instance, a badge. A badge here and a badge number here in uniform with weapons on them that are deadly. And we sit here and we run back these other things that have been done because there's a monetary value to it. They could be utilized in any circumstances when you're dealing within Admiralty Maritime law, right? So Admiralty Maritime law, you're dealing in colorable acts. That's why that one was read first, and it had the lowest number because as the number gets higher, it all comes back on a foundation. Okay, so now we have all these things. So if these people are coming within that, you attack 18 USC. Civil as well. That's why it says will be fined or can be fined under this section and such and such and such and such, imprisoned up to 15 years or both, depending on the extent of the crime. But how do you prove that? Exactly how I spelled it out. If my counterclaim, in my motion to vacate, my answer and counterclaim, I would have brought criminal charges. I had 18 USC in my thing. Yeah. Because what did you do? What is coming after that? You're going to record this in the county. You're then going to put it on my credit report. It's going to mess up me possibly getting credit. I'm saying if I was on that type of time, you know what I'm saying? You could possibly suspend my license if it's child support, right? If it's other things like taxes or whatever it might be, if it's done improperly, that can affect my life for a long time. It can ruin my family. It can ruin my I mean, I'm going extreme here. I mean, it can ruin my family. It can cause me to get a divorce. Make me go into depression, all kind of crazy stuff. You just never know on the individual. Make you go rob somebody. You know what I'm saying? Make you go to drugs and all kind of stuff. I'm just saying. These people know this. Don't think that they don't know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They are trained. They are very trained. All right, the last one here. Citizen of the United States. Here it is. Whoever falsely and willfully represents himself to be a citizen of the United States shall be fined under this title or prison not more than 3 years above. This is why you guys really need to check your records and find out if you are a United States citizen. Big Dog Philly, what you mean? Timestamp 1 hour, 30 minutes? All right. I'll timestamp that. So, he got the hold on, let me get that YouTube thing up. My bad. You know, when I got the full screen up, I can't see the chat. My charger's phone. Let me get my phone over here. All right. My apologies, Big Dog. Yeah, let me go ahead and get that up. But this is what I'm saying. Just so you guys can understand what I'm showing you. You need to check your records. People say, I'm a United States citizen. All right. This is what I'm showing y'all, man. These people are enticing us into slavery, in peonage, and enticing us into participate in fraudulent activity. I don't give a damn who listening. This is what they're doing. These companies are enticing us to participate in fraud under duress and coercion. And yeah, I'm gonna say it. A lot of people don't understand. You are committing a crime by doing these things. I'm showing it to you right here. This is why they always want you to indemnify them. So you must, from this point forward, correct the records. In order to correct the records, you need them to produce the statement of accounts. I'm going to pull that up in a minute. Let me show you guys something here. Let me show you something. It's title 42 up in here. 42. Yeah, there you go. Am I still showing my screen? Yeah. All right. I want you guys to look at this real quick. We're going to come all the way down to 7. Look at what this says. I'm just going to start from 7 right here. For the purpose of causing an increase in any payment authorized. Now, this is number 7, so it's all the way down here. So let's go up here. It says, in general, whoever, and it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whoever, for the purpose of causing an increase in any payment authorized under this subchapter, or for any other program financed in whole or in part from federal funds. Remember, 31 USC, 5118, 18 USC, section what? 8. Remember, right? Article 1, section 10. Everything that we said, acceptance, payment, all the different things, right? So it says, or for the purpose of causing a payment under this subchapter or any such other program to be made when no payment is authorized thereunder, or for the purpose of obtaining for himself or any other person any payment or any other benefit to which he or such other person is not entitled. Remember what I was talking about, payment under Article 3, Section 601, 02, 03. Tender of payment. Whoever has the right, whoever is entitled to enforce the instrument, right? Enforce payment. Whoever's entitled, nobody asked that question. Me too. But there's still a lot of people that now are not asking those questions. Do you have the right to, are you entitled to enforce this instrument? Do you? Question. But anyway, or for the purpose of obtaining anything of value from any person, or for any other purpose, willfully, knowingly, and with intent to deceive, uses a Social Security account number. All right, you got that, right? Now let's come down here. Now, what does A say? Whoever discloses, let's say me, uses, let's say us both, or compels, now that's them, the bank, CBA Bank, get that thing going. You are compelled to give me that Social Security number or you don't get nothing. You can't do it. I need that. I need that, and I need your identification. So I have been compelled to disclose because it says whoever discloses. I got the Social Security number and information in my hand. It's up to me to decide to disclose that to the other side, to CBA Bank. Now, the reason why, the use of it is both of us. They're going to use it for what they need it, and I'm using it so I can get some money, right? So I think. So it says discloses, uses, or compels the disclosure of the Social Security account number of any person in violation of the laws of the United States, or whoever conspires to commit any offense described in any of paragraphs 1 through 4 shall be guilty of a felony. Upon conviction thereof shall be fined under Title 18 or imprisoned not more than 5 years or both, except that in the case of a person who receives a fee or other income for services performed. So isn't that what CBA Bank does? Don't they get a fee? Doesn't the car lot? Don't they get a fee? Don't you pay fees on that transaction? Right. For services performed in connection with any determination with respect to benefits under this subchapter, including a claimant, representative, translator, or current or former employee of the Social Security Administration, or who is a physician or healthcare provider who submits or causes submission of medical or other evidence in connection with any such determination. Ooh, Medicare, healthcare, medical. Wow. Such person shall be guilty of a felony. Upon conviction thereof shall be fined under Title 18 or imprisoned not more than 10 years or both. Restitution. See, bingo, right here. See, these 42 USC section 408, you got those lined up. You got 83, 1994. You got a lot of things right there, right up on it. And here it goes. Restitution. What's about restitution? Restitution right here. Tired of reading. All right, let me go over here real quick. Let me remove this. Let me pull up a boom. Let me pull up the shut up, man. Yeah, let me pull up this YouTube. Big dog. He said timestamp it at 1:30. 1:30, 1:30, 1:30, 1:30. Hold on, what did he say? 1:30. 1:30, 1:30, 1:30. He said timestamp, hour and 30 minutes. Yep, that's where we at. All right, let's go. All right, let's get the channel back up. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop screen. I'm gonna give this its only screen so I can look at the chat. Go here and let's go. Here we go. Shout out to Big Dog Philly. Appreciate this. All right, let's go.
Law for that. Yeah, we ain't doing that. So that's up to the judge's discretion whether or not they will recognize it. And if they don't recognize it, well, you ain't got it. Now, inversely, if they then suddenly determine that you do have it, no matter what the written law says, well, guess what? Now you have it. Kyle Rittenhouse broke the law up one side and down the other. The state and the federal court both determined that he's got a right to carry his weapon, even if it's an illegal one. We determined that he's not bound to that. He's perfectly legal to carry that weapon. Well, that's the law right there. Yeah, the book says you're not supposed to. The book says he committed a crime. However, when the system says that that's okay, well, welcome to common law. This is the judge's discretion. This is up to the judge's discretion as established by local custom. Folks, y'all see how tricky the damn law is? Please remember, there's a reason why you have had the reclassification of pornography. And if you want to go down a real rabbit hole, try defining what pornography is. The Supreme Court has tied itself in knots attempting to define what is pornographic. I mean, how do you define pornographic? They've tried, they set some precedents, and they got knocked down each one because that's a very slippery thing. What is pornographic? What is?
Oh yeah, by the way, fair you. Shout out to the Black Authority. Shout out to the Black Authority. You guys go subscribe to them because I am. Shout out to the Black Authority.
Art? What is biological? What's pornography? And they still struggle with this to this day. Now, they used to have it where they said local standards. What would be offensive to local standards? Okay, folks, have you realized how that bar has moved over the last 40 years to what is considered, quote, offensive? So now XXX porn is no longer considered to be, quote, offensive to local standards. What used to be horribly offensive no longer is. Oh, so that's common law too. Okay. Yes, whatever is at our discretion. Whatever is at our discretion, that's what we get to do there. It's up to the judge for that. It's up to the judge for that. Based on however we want to define it.
That's right. Discretion is, dang, I didn't even notice that dang on chat thing. But yeah, that's, man, I'm telling you, that's what I tell everybody. Come across me, hey, when you walk up in there with your claim, you won. Just know you won. The only problem you're going to have is that judge. If you don't get that judge in pocket, it's going to be a long day. They will stretch that case out as long as possible so they can monetize that thing. They can get paid. And they'll just try to wear you out and wear you down till you quit. So, discretion.
Do you have constitutional rights? Oh boy, here we go. Oh boy, here we go.
Brother Aton, pause
I
a
don't
second.
like that.
Yeah, he be taking his time on that shit. Look at him. Oh boy. Drawing
Exactly.
that shit.
Hey, much love and respect to you, first of all, my brother. Much love and respect to everybody in the chat, man. I said I reviewed this early today, so I gotta let my man Anton tap into this to see what he think about it, man.
Yeah,
And
was listening
I
to
was
it.
good on the timestamp. A little, I should have put like, because I didn't want, the when he talked about the porno or nothing. But I think he brought a example with that. But I said I want my man Aton to tap in with this.
Yeah, no, I know where he's going, but he went to that discretion. So, and that discretion gets you.
Yes,
That's
sir.
where that judge be operating from that right there. Yeah, he always try to put his own little twist on it, try to make it kind of comical, But yeah, was there any other part on that? Because I want to play it back. I want to play it back because
the whole thing.
No,
Okay,
I want to play from the 130 part.
Okay.
Because I wanted to see what because I had got up and walked off.
Go ahead, play it back, brother. I'll mute up. We'll talk afterwards.
Was there another part?
Nah, in the beginning he was just talking about what he called white supremacy, what I call racism, and how, basically, they working with each other to protect each other.
Right.
You get me?
Uh-huh.
In the judicial system. But yeah, I wanted you to if you get a minute, just go through the whole video later that night. You ain't doing nothing. Just go through parts of it and see what you think about it. And that's anybody in the chat, man, because I enjoyed it. I played just about I think it was 2 hours long. I think I played 155 of the whole thing just about.
Okay.
Go ahead, brother. You can rewind it back. I'm here.
Hit that thumbs up button on it.
That we ain't doing that. So that's up to the judge's discretion whether or not they will recognize it. And if they don't recognize it, well, you ain't got it. Now, inversely, if they then suddenly determine that you do, we validate this If you can't do that,
Yeah, I'm a come back a little bit more so I can know what he's talking about, what he addressing. Let me come back another 5 minutes.
He's basically just addressing what he called white supremacy. I call racism in the court system. How different cases happen
Okay.
in the judicial system.
All
But
right.
yeah, go back and like I said, when you get a minute, I think you're going to enjoy it, brother.
All right, for sure.
and what substantiates their conclusions. When they start talking about customs and English law and derivatives and things like that, well, what they're telling you is, okay, welcome to the common law. Well, we have a written law here that already substantiates things. So if they're going to something else, well, that's the law. So when somebody tries this trick bag on you that, well, this is written over here, so it's not the law if it's not, no, these are common law. Now, let's go a little bit further because a lot of folks are misled about when they hear those terms. They're misled when they hear those terms because do you all understand when you talk about common law, in reality, what that really means is it is up to the judge's discretion. What? What? Do you understand that? That is what common law actually means. Common law is simply saying that this is up for the judge's discretion. If you want to claim common law marriage, that's not actually something that you can enforce. Did you realize that? Oh, follow me, follow me, follow me, follow me. Next time some jackass tries to sit up here and read you the Riot Act and whatnot and try to convince you of something, people, please understand, you cannot arbitrarily declare common law for yourself. Do you understand that? You can't say, I've been living with this woman for 20 years, therefore I say that she is my common law wife. If you cannot get the government to recognize that, if the government refuses to recognize your declaration, then it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist unless or until you can get the government to recognize it. That's the part that anybody trying to lecture you about common law leaves out. You see, you can't correct your status. All these clowns who sold you all on the fallacy and idiocy of status correction, the problem is you can't correct your status unless you can get the government to honor your so-called corrected status.
I see where you're going with this. Okay, buddy. Well, white supremacists, you can have that. Everything that you just said, suspect. Where are you coming from with that, buddy? That is absolutely false. Power to the people means just that, power to the people. The people control things. These people are servants. He's talking as if a judge has authority to do anything. They have the authority that was vested in them by the people. They derive their power from the people. You get it? You can claim common law marriage and you ain't got to tell nobody. Common law means common sense. Obviously, you missed that one. Nah, buddy. No, buddy. Buddy. Listen, we'll get back to you. We'll get back to you in a minute. Hold on. We'll get back to you in a minute. Y'all see the screen?
Yes, sir.
This is common law, right? What we're gonna do though is we're gonna come up to common knowledge is what court may declare applicable to action without necessity of proof. It is noble that every intelligent person has. It is knowledge that every intelligent person has. Every, not the judge. Now, let's keep it going a little bit further. It includes matters of learning, experience, history, and facts of which judicial notice may be taken. So if you don't understand what judicial notice means, judicial notice falls under the evidence code. Now, I will show you that too in a second, but let's go to common law. It says, as distinguished from the Roman law, the modern civil law, the canon law, and other systems, the common law is that body of law in juristic theory which was originated, developed, and formulated as administered and is administered in England and has obtained among most of the states and peoples of Anglo-Saxon. As distinguished from law created by the enactment of legislatures, the common law comprises the body of those principles and rules of action relating to the government and security of persons and property, which derive their authority solely from usages and customs of immemorial antiquity. Immemorial antiquity. Now, immemorial and antiquity in America and pretty much the world, who would that be, brother? Come on, man. You just went off on a tangent, and you went off on that tangent, I guess, for me to listen to you. And you got my attention. So here's your response. Now I want to find a judge up in here somewhere. Now, it also says, or from the judgments and decrees of the courts, recognizing, affirming, and enforcing such usages and customs, and in the sense, particularly the ancient unwritten law of England. Now, they keep talking about England. I think that's the only thing that you probably got right. But we're not done. Okay? Now, just know, though, these court cases are in America. All right, these American states. Now, where we see a judge, I don't know. Now, let's go to common law jurisdiction. Jurisdiction of a court to try and decide such cases as were cognizable by the courts of law under the English common law, the jurisdiction of those courts which exercise their judicial powers according to the course of the common law. Is that what he was talking about? Because it's still according to the course of the common law. So it means the judge is still following something. The judge has no powers but what's given to them. All right, so let's keep going here. Common law marriage. Let's see if he's right. Come on, you got to get one of them right, bro. One of them. Got to get one of them. All right, so it says common law marriage, one not solemnized in the ordinary way, but created by an agreement to marry, followed by cohabitation, a consummated agreement to marry, between persons legally capable of making marriage contract. Per verba de presenti, I guess, followed by cohabitation. There must be a public and continued recognition of such relation by the parties as distinguished from occasional or incidental recognition. Where's the judge? No judge. That's like being open in a terrace. They say open in a terrace in what you would consider to be squatting or adverse possession of land. You need to be open in the terrace. You have to be in the public. They have to see you there. You have to be consistent. There must be witnesses, might I say. Instead of saying public, you got witnesses. So you create an agreement, a contract, a marriage contract amongst each other. And you have witnesses, which is your mother and father and the other mother and father. You have them sign off of it. Then you can take it in front of a notary, do a jurat behind that, and have that notarized. That is authentic. Where is the judge? Non-existent, bro. Come on, man. Come on, man. I don't know why you doing that. I don't know why you did that, but you did it. But it's cool. Obviously, it's cool. But yeah, let's see. All right. So now we have what? Common. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to common right. Let's do that. Come on, dude. Common right. Term applied to rights, privileges, and immunities appertaining to and enjoyed by all citizens equally and in common, and which have their foundation in the common law. Common sense, sound practical judgment. That degree of intelligence and reason as exercised upon the relations of persons and things in the ordinary affairs of life, which is possessed by the generality of mankind and which would suffice to direct the conduct and actions of the individual in a manner to agree with the behavior of ordinary persons. Where's the judge? Sound practical judgment. So that means the people are the judge. What you see in those black robes are what you consider to be judges or judicial officers with a fiduciary duty to execute their office of judgeship. All right? Cool. What was I say I was going to look up? I forget. What was I going to look up? I forgot what it was. Common knowledge. What was I going to put up? Anyway. Said I was going to look up something, but I forgot. Anyway, nevertheless, let's go back to the brother. Let's go back to the brother and see what the brother got to say. Let's go back to the
Peace, bro.
Back to the brother.
Man, hold up, bro. Yo, what's up?
Going
what's
back
up,
to the
dog?
brother.
What's up, big bro? Y'all hear me?
Yep.
Big dog Philly. What's up, bro? What's up,
What's
Nani?
good, brother?
No,
Yo.
I figured I'd get a little something started
man,
with this video.
yo,
What's up,
man,
man?
you left Aton a nice, big, juicy steak dinner, bro. that
Nonetheless, Jarvis, Big Dog Philly OG, everybody else in the chat as we know it. Peace, man. On the next one. Hold on, let me cut this music off. All right, y'all. You already know what time it is.
We want freedom by any means necessary. We want justice by any means necessary. We want equality by any means necessary. We don't feel that in 1964, living in a country that is supposedly based upon freedom and supposedly the leader of the free world, we don't think that we should have to sit around and wait for
all of your assets, you have to protect it. Just set your trust up, come get your status corrected. Yeah, you know we moving more than mountains. Fuck your school, fuck your voting system, fuck your water fountains. Melanin, I know you heard of me. You can never murder me. I want that gold you owe me now. It go from 1933. I want y'all to stand on all the treaties that you sold to me. Cause we was already here. Y'all came on a boat to me. And know this God-given land we all holding fee. Simple, absolute gratitude, your majesty. I shy not in my straw man, you not controlling me. Certified, signed, sealed, stamped by the notary. Don't try to lie to my face like you ain't just a colonist who tricked us with contracts, but you fail to acknowledge it. In history books of fertilizer, one big pile of shit. Acting like you freed us from slavery, but ain't abolished it. The plantation just got renovated. Driver's license and passports are the new slave papers. How they foreclosing on the ones they gave acres. We allowed them entry, even trusted them as neighbors. They took everything from us and made us ask for favors, and posed as the only helping hand that's there to save us. Boycott, don't try to keep up with the fad, cause the money that we save, the properties that we rehab. Monopoly with the fad. Tears don't fall from my eyes, cause they see our what, but they don't see our why. You was born in June, but I only seen July. Influenced by bad spirits like a DUI. You ain't do no estate planning, but you think you fly. Now we gon' need 3 fish fries to see you die. We the revolt, boy, don't play with me. The time is now, this royalty over slavery. Damn.
Don't move it. Don't move it. Don't move it. Yeah. Don't move it. Don't move it. Don't move it.
I'm the coach, quotes coded in oath with a ghost loaded focus. Chrome in the coat, king with the cloak, smoking that hocus pocus. Infinite styles, pivot and pile up the mileage. I'm wild with the science. You see the line on my avatar, iron jaw pride. I to devour the silence. Why you niggas steady lying? Got me laughing hard, satire and fraud. I fire the squad. Wise get crossed when I'm sparring with all the guards. Author of art, carving a mark in the bark of the market at large. Target the sharks, heart of a Spartan. I sharpen the margin with bars. You rather bargain and dodge. I'd rather you come get your taxes done. Black suit, back room, facts in a stack. I'm relaxing the maximum. Get out of the pocket, the profit of rocket. Then I just might tax you punks. Bracket your funds, I'm stacking in chunks. Reacting to acid, you're begging a punch. Sometimes my community hard-headed, scarred, dreading the lessons. I chart head and start spreading the message. Embedded in pressure, sovereign living. I'm private with it, no corporate percentage. Discharging debt with a pen stroke. You still don't notice the vision. I've been telling y'all you don't want to debate me. Weighty and ready, great with machetes, linguistically shredding the petty. Grab these 15 acres. Landscape major, plan made paper, land patent stamped and sacred. Since my campaign greater, I ain't talking about Ice-T when I say that I can show you law and order. Court recorder, I sort the torture, contort the border. I eat the case, beat the state, leave a trace of the raw supporter. Briefcase aura, got your baby mama thinking that I'm a lawyer. Seminole Indian sentiment, militant on sovereign soil. Private enrollment, tribal component. I'm the boss if you're trying to employ it.
Gosh, baby, if